Hey there, lovely listeners. Welcome back to Speak English Fluently podcast. I'm Emily, and this is my amazing co-host, Hannah.
Hi, everyone. We're thrilled to have you with us today. Before we jump into our conversation, we want to remind you that there's a PDF in the description below with all the idioms, expressions, and phrases we're going to use in this episode. Make sure you download it for your learning.
That's right, Hannah. And don't forget to listen carefully because we're going to highlight every idiom, phrasal verb, and advanced word on the screen. You don't want to miss any of them.
All right, so today we're going to have a casual conversation, just like we would in real life. But here's the catch. We're going to sneak in some rich vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs, and we want you to repeat after us. It's going to be super fun, right?
Absolutely. And don't worry, we'll repeat the important words, phrases, and idioms a few times so they stick. Now let's get started. So Hannah, how was your day today?
Oh, Emily, you wouldn't believe it. I was over the moon. Over the moon. Can you guys say that with me? Over the moon means I was extremely happy.
That's fantastic. Over the moon. Yes, everyone, say it out loud with us. I was over the moon. So what happened that made you so happy?
Well, I hit the nail on the head today at work. Hit the nail on the head. Can you repeat that? Hit the nail on the head means I got something exactly right.
Wow, that must have been amazing. Repeat it again with us, everyone. Hit the nail on the head. It means to get something exactly right. So, what exactly did you hit on the head, Hannah?
I solved this huge problem we were having with our project, and my boss was blown away. Blown away? Can you say that with me? Blown away means he was really impressed.
Well done! Blown away, blown away! And I'm sure all of you listening will blow us away with how well you're catching on to these expressions.
Oh, I hope so. I really want everyone to feel on cloud nine. On cloud nine. Repeat it after me. On cloud nine means to feel extremely happy.
Yes, on cloud nine. What a great phrase. So, Hannah, what else happened after you were on cloud nine?
Well, later in the day, I hit the books for a bit. Hit the books. This means to study hard. Can you all say that? Hit the books.
I love that one. Repeat it again with us. Hit the books. It's a great phrase to use when you need to study hard. Like, I need to hit the books before my big presentation tomorrow.
And hey, listeners, don't forget, if you're enjoying this conversation, make sure to subscribe to Speak English Fluently podcast. You'll get loads of helpful content just like this. And more importantly, you'll keep improving your English with every episode.
That's right. And feel free to share this with your friends. Let them join the fun too. Okay, back to our conversation.
So, after hitting the books, I was feeling under the weather. Under the weather. Have you heard this one? It means I wasn't feeling well. Let's all say it together. Feeling under the weather.
Yes, under the weather. It's such a common expression, right? Whenever someone isn't feeling 100%, you can say they're feeling under the weather.
And that's why I had to call it a day early. Call it a day. Can you say it with me? This means I decided to stop working because I was too tired.
Oh, I totally get that, Hannah. Sometimes you just need to call it a day and recharge. So, after you called it a day, did you do anything relaxing?
Yes, actually. I decided to take it easy for the evening. Take it easy. Can you say it with me, everyone? Take it easy means to relax and not do anything too stressful.
I love that one. It's so important to take it easy sometimes. Say it with us. Take it easy. It means to unwind and not push yourself too hard. So, Hannah, what did you do to relax?
Well, I ended up binge watching some shows on Netflix. You know, the kind where you get hooked. Get hooked. This means you become so absorbed or addicted that you just can't stop watching.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. Let's all say it together. Get hooked. It means you're drawn into something and can't let it go. So what show were you hooked on?
It was this new mystery series, and honestly, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. On the edge of my seat. Come on, repeat that with me. On the edge of my seat means I was very excited or anxious because of the suspense.
Oh, I love shows like that. Everyone, say it with us. On the edge of my seat. It's what you say when something is so exciting or intense that you can hardly sit still.
Exactly. I couldn't stop watching until late at night. But the next morning, I had to get back on track. Get back on track. Can you all say that with me? Get back on track means to return to a planned routine or goal after a distraction.
Right, and we all have those moments when we need to get back on track. Everyone say it with us. Get back on track. It's about focusing again after you've been sidetracked. So how did you manage to get back on track, Hannah?
Well, I just reminded myself that I needed to get down to business. Get down to business. Say it with me. Get down to business means to focus seriously on something important.
That's a great expression. Repeat it with us. Get down to business. It means to start working seriously and get things done. It's one I use all the time when I need to focus.
Yeah, I ended up organizing my tasks, and everything felt a lot more manageable. I always tell myself to take one step at a time. Take one step at a time. Can you all say it? Take one step at a time means to handle things slowly and steadily instead of trying to do everything at once.
That's excellent advice, Hannah. Let's all say it. Take one step at a time. It's such a great reminder when we're feeling overwhelmed. And by the way, listeners, we've been using a lot of great idioms and phrasal verbs today. Don't forget to download the PDF in the description so you can review everything we've discussed.
Yes. Make sure you're practicing these phrases and idioms regularly to really solidify them in your daily conversations.
Okay, Hannah, I think that was a great conversation filled with useful vocabulary and expressions. But now, let's go over the words and phrases we've used to help our listeners remember them better.
Good idea, Emily. Let's start with over the moon. This means to be extremely happy, and here's another example. She was over the moon when she found out she got the job.
Exactly. Or how about, after winning the match, the team was over the moon? It's such a fun phrase to use when you're really joyful.
Next, we had hit the nail on the head. This means to get something exactly right. An example would be, when she explained the solution, she really hit the nail on the head.
Another good one is, he hit the nail on the head when he guessed the reason for the problem. It's such a perfect way to describe when someone is spot on.
Then there's blown away. This means to be really impressed. Like, the audience was blown away by his performance.
Yes, or I was blown away by how delicious the food was. It's a great phrase when you want to show how much something amazed you.
And don't forget on cloud 9, which means to feel extremely happy. For example, after receiving the promotion, he was on cloud 9.
Or they were on cloud 9 after hearing the good news. Such a positive expression.
Moving on, we also had hit the books, which means to study hard. For instance, I have an exam tomorrow, so I need to hit the books tonight.
Right, and another one could be, she hit the books all weekend to prepare for her finals. It's a must-use expression for students.
Another good one is feeling under the weather, meaning to not feel well. Like, I couldn't go to work because I was feeling under the weather.
Or she stayed in bed all day because she was under the weather. It's a very common phrase when you're not feeling great.
And don't forget, call it a day, which means to stop working for the day. For example, we've made enough progress. Let's call it a day.
Exactly, or after finishing the report, they decided to call it a day and head home. It's a good way to wrap things up. All right, Hannah, so after all that hard work, sometimes we just need to blow off some steam. Blow off some steam. Let's repeat that, everyone. Blow off some steam means to do something to release stress or frustration. For example, after a long day at work, I went for a jog to blow off some steam.
That's a good one, Emily. Everyone, say it with us. Blow off some steam. It's what you do when you need to relax and let go of all that tension. Like, he played video games to blow off some steam after a stressful week.
Exactly. And speaking of stress, there's another phrase I use when I'm overwhelmed. Burn the midnight oil. Can you say it with me? Burn the midnight oil. It means to work late into the night. For example, I had to burn the midnight oil to finish that project on time.
Oh, I've definitely been there. Everyone, repeat it. Burn the midnight oil. It's a great way to describe those nights when you stay up late working. Another example. She's been burning the midnight oil studying for her exams.
And after all that late night work, you know what happens? You start feeling burned out. Burned out. Let's all say it together. Burned out means feeling exhausted, especially from too much work or stress. For example, after months of non-stop work, I was completely burned out.
That's a crucial one to know. Everyone, say it with us. burned out. It's what happens when you've been pushing yourself too hard. Another example. He was burned out after working overtime for several weeks straight.
And once you're burned out, it's so important to get back on your feet. Get back on your feet. Say it with us, listeners. Get back on your feet means to recover from a setback. For example, after losing his job, he worked hard to get back on his feet.
Right. Get back on your feet is such an encouraging phrase. It's all about bouncing back after a challenge. Another example. After being sick for a week, she finally got back on her feet and returned to work.
And speaking of challenges, there's another expression that I love. Hit the ground running. Hit the ground running. Hit the ground running means to start something with energy and enthusiasm. For example, she hit the ground running on her new project and made great progress right away.
Yes, that's a fantastic expression. Repeat it, everyone. Hit the ground running. It's perfect for when you're ready to dive right into something. Another example would be, the team hit the ground running after the meeting and immediately started working on the plan.
And sometimes after hitting the ground running, things don't go as planned and we need to roll with the punches. Yes, roll with the punches. Say it with us. Roll with the punches means to adapt to difficult situations without letting them get you down. For example, even though the project had many setbacks, we rolled with the punches and kept going.
That's such a valuable lesson. Everyone, let's say it again. Roll with the punches. It's about staying flexible and strong when things get tough. Another example is, life threw her some challenges, but she learned to roll with the punches and came out stronger.
All right, everyone, that was such a fun conversation filled with useful idioms and phrases. Now, don't forget, if you want to see all the expressions we used, check out the PDF in the description. It's packed with all the idioms, phrasal verbs, and vocabulary we discussed today.
And remember, practice makes perfect. Keep using these phrases in your daily conversations to really solidify them. The more you practice, the more natural they'll feel.
Now let's review some of the phrases we used today just to make sure they stick. Hannah, do you want to start?
Of course. First up, we had blow off some steam. This means to release stress or frustration. For example, after a long week, he went to the gym to blow off some steam.
Or, she bakes when she's stressed to blow off some steam. It's a great phrase to use when you need to relax.
Next, we used burn the midnight oil, which means to work late into the night. An example would be, he burned the midnight oil to finish his assignment before the deadline.
Another one could be, she's been burning the midnight oil preparing for her big presentation. It's such a relatable phrase, especially for students and professionals.
Then we had burned out, which means feeling exhausted from too much work or stress. For instance, she felt completely burned out after working 60 hours a week for months.
Exactly, or he's taking a break because he was starting to feel burned out from all the overtime. It's a common phrase to describe mental or physical exhaustion.
And after feeling burned out, we mentioned getting back on your feet, which means recovering from a setback. An example would be, after a tough year, she's finally getting back on her feet.
Another one could be, he worked hard to get back on his feet after being laid off. It's a hopeful expression about bouncing back.
Finally, we had roll with the punches, which means to adapt to difficulties. For example, the weather was terrible during their vacation, but they rolled with the punches and made the best of it.
Or even though the project hit some roadblocks, the team rolled with the punches and kept moving forward. It's all about resilience and staying positive. Wow, Hannah, that was such a productive and engaging discussion. I think our listeners will really appreciate all the new idioms, phrases, and expressions we covered today. Remember, everyone, it's all about practice. Keep using these in your daily conversations, and soon they'll become second nature.
Absolutely, Emily. And to help you on your journey to fluency, don't forget that we've attached a PDF in the description below. It has all the idioms, phrasal verbs, and advanced words we used in this episode, along with example sentences. So make sure to download it and use it for your practice.
Yes. And if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the Speak English Fluently podcast. That way, you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes packed with more useful content to help you improve your English.
And of course, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know which phrases you're going to use first, or if there's a topic you'd like us to cover next. Don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends who are also on their English learning journey.
We really appreciate your support, everyone. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and remember, learning English should be fun. Until next time, happy learning.
Bye for now and keep speaking confidently.